Hello, in this video I wanted to explain to you how actually trauma shapes your worldview and how then elite through the media actually manipulates and controls you through that fear of yours, through that trauma of yours, as a leverage, using it as a leverage to use you then as the agent of whatever kind of narrative they want to push. This is how it is. And because you're hurt, you resonate with what makes you feel safe in this world. And because there are many narratives, opposing narrative in this life, you pick the one that makes you feel safe, and then you forever oppose the other ones. For instance, maybe the trauma in your life was you being hurt, so you being now afraid of being, for instance, more aggressive and dominant, right? And so you resonate more with femininity and therefore more with liberal worldviews, right? You resonate more with liberal worldviews because they make you feel safe, and the conservatives, the more hard ones, because you have fear of that part of yourself being hard, that triggers you, right? So those conservatives, hard worldviews, they trigger you, and so you remain attached to the liberal and forever battle the conservative, more hard outside of you, because you're actually rejecting a more hard parts of yourself, right? This is how it is. There is no escaping that, because we see the world as we are. We always project on the world how we are. And if you want to stop this division, then you have to see the world as it is, not as you are, as the distorted yourself. So you need to become your full self to see the world as it is, because until you are distorted, you will see the world distorted, right? And you will see division because you're divided, and you will bring division to the world. And you will be on one side that makes you feel safe and oppose the one that triggers you, just because you're not whole. So until you haven't done this healing, internal unification, you don't see life as it is, and you can't actually bring any meaningful help to this planet. You're then just being a puppet of the elite to drive these opposing narratives and bring division. You don't see the whole picture. Just think a little bit. How can you be so courageous and confident in speaking about one of the opposing narrative worldviews when actually they don't bring resolvement, solution for all of the people, right? If your proposition, if your advice, if what you want to bring to the public, if your idea doesn't bring solution to all of humanity, then it isn't a solution, right? If it doesn't bring value to everybody, it isn't a solution, right? This is how it is. It's very simple. So it is just about healing yourself, becoming balanced, facing the fear of life fully. And I have done 2 videos before this one, check them out, very important. How to come to this internal unification so you can see the world clearly and see the value in all of the points of views of life, and how can you then actually start resonating with all of humanity because you're fully being human, right? That's it. If you want to know the world, know yourself. It's how it is. because we always project who we are onto the world. We always see how we are. And so if you want to see unification in the world, you have to be united. Until then, you will see division. You will see division as the possibility because you are divided. But when you are full and whole and united, you will see that actually unification is totally possible because I can see it. And being divided, it's what we all go through, and seeing division, right? We all went through that because this is the way of trauma, and everybody was traumatized and is traumatized at some point. And so if you're now listening to a human that's speaking that unification is possible, see the solution because they themselves are unified. Just know that you're listening to somebody that's actually tried both division because of trauma and unification in the world because of being healed. So if you still see division because you're traumatized, because you see division, you are traumatized, I know that. Just know that before you start advising people on how to be in this life and how to do and what should we do and what narrative is actually the right one, you should first see also the other side of life, right? Becoming whole, healing yourself, being responsible and mature enough to heal yourself, become whole, so you can see how the world actually is and now how you are, right? Because only when you see the world situation clearly, for the first time in life, only once you're healed, you can see it clearly and therefore bring advice, true solutions that can actually, where everybody can benefit from, right? The solutions where everybody benefits from it. This is what solution means. And so if you're not healing yourself, you don't have any capability, and therefore you shouldn't have responsibility or this confidence of preaching to the world how life, how world should be. Until you're healed, you shouldn't have that allowance. You shouldn't be allowed to give advice on life. Until you're healed, you shouldn't. Because you're seeing life as you are. So you are just giving advice from that limited state of yourself. You being limited, you bring limitation. What good is that? We are already being limited. We need solutions, right? So in order to bring solutions for all, you need to be whole in order to see picture, the idea of what is happening truly, fully, clearly. It's how it is. So healing of yourself, actually trauma, elite traumatizing us through our most closest family members, is actually the ultimate method of forever establishing division amongst humanity. Trauma is truly the culprit, the root of it all. So healing is the most important thing you can do in this life. Until then, you are immature. I'm very sorry, but this is how it is. Until you can resonate with all of the people because you're being fully human, until then, you don't understand all of points of views. It's very logical, it's very simple. And how can you then help somebody if you don't understand them? Right? Because you're not being whole and therefore not having capability of resonating with them, right? It's impossible. It's impossible. People that are not whole have shouldn't shouldn't be allowed to state their advices to the world, because limitation brings more limitation. It's how it is. Healing is the most important thing you can do for yourself. Plus, people that have been wounded, people that have been wounded, what do? Then we always seek validation from the world, right? So if you always seek validation from the world, you do that because you want to feel accepted, because we were all rejected, and we don't want to be rejected, because rejection meant for you being abandoned and therefore risking your life, actually, because we are fragile beings. As children, we need attachment to our parents. We can't survive on our own, right? So then, because of us all going through that trauma of being abandoned, we have this strong need to be validated by the people. And so what we do, we are even honored. We are so confident in taking these narratives of the world onto ourselves, because we want to prove to be alike. We want to prove that we are just like everybody else, to be validated, right? Because we have this fear of being abandoned, we now even more easily take on ourselves the narratives, so we are then being accepted. And we are being so blind and unconscious in us trying to be accepted, actually in some distorted, partial, limited group worldview. And we are then even being prideful of that, right? Because of that trauma, we now have the need to prove ourselves that we actually are even like that, like the narrative, like that specific community. We were truly being dumbed down, limited, not being intelligent when we were being traumatized, and then fully manipulated. If you want to heal, check my 2 previous videos on how to balance yourself and dissolve fear of life by meeting it fully. That's it.